Teresa asked me a question, and I have to admit it that I did what I tend to do with her oftentimes. And before I spoke, I knew that I was going to be defensive. I saw it coming. And I think she did too, because normally when she asks a question that is pertinent and purposeful and maybe she may not agree or not understand me, I think she knows that sometimes I might take it that way. But what the question was it was about the Green Pants podcast. And she said to me, is it just going to be about dreams? And of course, that's a huge part of what the Green Pants podcast is. But I didn't really respond because, number one, I thought that I would be very defensive right off the bat. And so I waited, but I did respond. And you see, it's much more than dreams. Yes, they're big dreams. I've accomplished some big dreams in this journey along the path to more dreams, and all that's evolving. But there's so much more. And this was a great question for me. And she put it to me, and I didn't have a perfect answer right off the bat. So I had to think about it. But yes, the Green Pants podcast it's much more than a podcast. I really want it to be a movement about dreams, about mental health, about obstacles and, for lack of a better term, failures, but incredible highs and accomplishments, and all along the way showing some of the ways that I did these things. See, dreams are personal, but I think vision is more of a collective. Dreams are very personal. And there are two stories that I want to relate some of this with. These, and I'm going to, you can call it dreams, you can call it motivations, you can call it goals, you can call it focus. See, that's the thing. Yes, it's much bigger than dreams, but it's all about the me, not me, but you, the why, the purpose of the person. Call it a dream if you want, but it's just wanting to move forward towards more realization, more purpose, more meaning, what have you. And this first introductory story was about something that I think there's a scripture, Genesis 28:16, and it goes, it was Jacob who said, "The Lord is here, and I didn't know it." I'll explain that shortly, but I was in college many years ago, and for my senior project, I'd put something together based on a couple things that I love: peanut butter and jelly and Pop-Tarts. So here I am. I'm in my last year of college, and I had to put together this project, this product or service, and I chose a product. In essence, what you do, or what I did, is what I presented was taking peanut butter and jelly and a Pop-Tart. But what you do is you make that PB&J sandwich, and you crimp the edges, and you cut it first into whatever shape it might be, a triangle or a circle or whatever, and then you crimp it, and then you shrink wrap it and freeze it. So you can have these, and what you do is you take them out of the freezer and maybe put it in your backpack on the way to class or whatever. And by the time you're through class or whatever, it's ready to eat, and it's still cold and really nice. And well, of course, 8 years later, Smucker's Corporation created the Uncrustable. And I share this because of the Genesis scripture, having something happen and not even know it. For example, this example, I had this passion for this project, and I just let it alone, though. I didn't pursue it. Here it is now. I don't know if it's a $1 billion product, but it is a mainstay in the Smucker's Corporation. And this was a missed dream. That is one kind of dream. That is one kind of goal or focus, something that's missed. for some reason, whatever reason that might be. The other are bold dreams. And this is the second story, and the one that involves Peter Facinelli. I was in Kansas City. I went to a jewelry store with a buddy of mine. We were looking at watches, and I run into... She actually stuck her head in between us. That is Bethany Frankel with me. And I think she was one of the housewives of, I think, New York. And I had been with Peter for, I guess, a short while. We become friends, maybe 6 or 8 months into our friendship. We weren't yet movie producing partners. I sent him that picture, and he got a chuckle out of that. But within the hour, I get a response, another response. And what it is it's a photograph. It's a picture. It had been photoshopped, and Peter had taken Miss Bethany Frankel out of the picture and put someone else in. And you see, I kind of had this obsession, but this added to it. And at the bottom, it says, "We need to get Matt Damon to play you someday." So there's a part 2 to this story, and the one that almost got me arrested. I was obsessed with Matt Damon and getting him to play me in the movie. I love you, Zach. I love you, Zach Levi. You're one of my favorite human beings. But years ago, and then seeing this picture, I wanted Matt Damon initially because he looked like me. I thought, how cool could that be? Getting Shazam was better. But anyway, I found out that Matt Damon's agent was one of the 2 owners of the largest talent agency in the world. I also found out that he lived in my home state. And I happened to cover 3 states, one of them being my home state for my job. And one day I decided I was working in this part of the state, and I found out that he lived there, this agent and the chairman of this talent agency. And it's a $1 billion talent agency. So I had the bright idea to go there. And I did find out that his parents still live there in this town. I thought I'd go up, stroll on up their driveway and knock on the door and say, "Hey, I'd love to get in touch with your son so that maybe he could introduce me to Matt Damon." I did this. I got to the end of their driveway, and I just paused, and I looked over at no one in particular. There was no one there, but to myself, I said, "Joe, what the flip am I doing? What am I doing?" And I put it in drive and got out of there because I just thought to myself, "What are you doing? You're stalking the guy or something." And this leads me to the second piece, which is Philippians 3:13 and 14. And this is kind of, I think it's a paraphrase, pressing forward without the result, joy in the pursuit itself. And what I'm really trying to say here is that I think that when you're pursuing your goal or that thing, that whatever's at the end of that rainbow, the thing that you want, so it may be your faith, it may be something in your life that you're trying to achieve, and it may just be peace, it may be joy, but you can go to some dramatic ends to get there, even if it's not accomplished. This was a huge moment for me, and it was a big learning lesson, and I'm glad I did it. But there are 2 types of dreams, I think. There's missed, and then there's bold pursuits, which I demonstrated. And it's not just my dreams. It's a movement, though. This is. I want to hear from all of you about these types of things. You see, 100% of short putts do not go in. It's, or another cheesy basketball saying is never up, never in. You never shoot the ball in the air. It's never got a chance to go in. You never ask the question. It's always going to be no. You never take a step forward. You're always going to be stuck on go or do not go. So to Teresa, is this only about dreams? I think it's semantics. It's about dreams. It's about purpose. It's about self. It's about self-enrichment. It's about self-esteem. It's about self-love. It's about growing and growth. So yeah, it's way more than dreams. Yeah, it's a green pants movement. Sure. Why do you think, and this is the last thing here that I shared with Teresa, I want to have hats, and I want to have t-shirts, and I want to have mugs. And I know what she's probably thinking when I'm saying that. I'm like, you just started this podcast. It's brand new, and you want to have merch. Yeah, I do. Absolutely. That's part of the essence of everything I'm talking about. Because 15, 16 years ago, I didn't have a book. I didn't have a notebook. I hadn't written a page. But you got to dream, and you got to know what that end goal is, even if it's a small step. So yeah, I want merch because I know where I'm going to go, and I know what I want to do. And I know that's going to be part of it that drives me. Absolutely. This is a Green Pants state of mind. This is Green Pants Nation. Much love, and I appreciate you all. Please share, please subscribe, and please watch any episodes prior if you haven't. God bless.